Welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Perfectly Queer. We're continuing from our discussion last week, and we're welcoming back Frank Kewin to the program. Frank is a licensed psychotherapist who provides trauma-informed coaching and specializes in therapy for queer and questioning men. I hope you'll join us as we continue our conversation and delve more into what a coaching session with Frank might look like. So, without further hesitation, Frank, the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, thanks very much, Randy. It's great to see you again and great to be back in this very fertile, expansive conversation around the impacts of internalized homo shame and how those show up in our lives.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing our conversation and see where it leads us.
Great.
Or leads me.
Yeah, let's go with leads us.
Perfect.
That's always in coaching or therapeutic work is that it's something that we do together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. Is there anything that you wanted to call to the audience's attention from our previous episode, or shall we just dive in?
Well, I know we spoke briefly around some of the topics that we did discuss on the last episode, and I thought what might be a good focus for our discussion and to delve further into what a coaching session looks like with you is to talk around the idea of body image, because that was something we touched on, and I specifically touched on in our conversation last week. So maybe if we can go from there, and the whole idea of eating our shame and what that looks like, and in many cases what the unrealistic expectation is for gay men and what they should look like.
Sure, that's a great topic. So we'll dive in there, and let's just begin. So first of all, I want to honor and thank you, Randy, for being willing to explore this in relation to your own experience and in relation to your own life. So I just want to honor your courage and your bravery in doing that today.
Oh, thank you. I think it's important that we show folks that it's not the scary process that some of us might think it is, right?
Absolutely. And then there's a sense in which your work is my work, and your work is the work of everyone who is watching and viewing, and will touch things in their own experience and in their own life. And so we welcome the experience of everyone who's watching. And
it's a great chance for us to shine a light on mental health during what is Mental Health Month here in Canada right now too. So,
absolutely, thank you for that. So I'm going to invite you as we begin. I'm going to lead you through a brief breath exercise as a way of grounding and helping us to arrive here in this space in a settled kind of way.
Sure.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the breath exercise, and then I will model it, and then I will ask you to do it 10 times, and we'll just see what arises and what it's like for you.
Sure.
Okay. So this breath exercise, and there are many, many breath exercises, but this one in particular goes like this. It's 2 short breaths in through the nose and 1 long extended exhale through the mouth. And on the exhale, with your inside voice, you simply say, I am here. So I will model it once, and then I'll invite you to do it 10 times. And when you do it, if you can pick a focus that isn't directly off me, just off to the side, a point on the wall or something. So it looks like this. So you'll notice that the exhale is about 3 times as long as the 2 short inhales. And on the exhale, with the internal voice, I am here.
Got it.
So if you can just do that 10 times.
And I've lost count, so I'm not sure that that's 10 or not.
Okay, it's close enough.
I think so. For time's sake, we'll say it was 10.
We'll say it was 10. And I'm curious, what is it that you notice and experience as you do those breaths?
I just, for me, just sort of a calming and sort of a settling of where I'm at.
Exactly. Yeah. When we do that kind of breath, we optimize our intake of oxygen and our most efficient expelling of carbon dioxide. Matching that with the intentional thought, I am here, triggers our nervous system to move into relaxation.
I am relaxed.
We're relaxed and you're here, so welcome. As we approach the whole understanding and image of how we feel in relationship to our own body. So you and I have chatted about this off camera and a little bit on camera this morning. So I invite you at this point to feel into a memory of a time when you were aware of a sense of an awful or unpleasant feeling about your own body image.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it goes back to very early days and young. I remember being on a family trip to Niagara Falls, and it's not so much the actual events of being on the trip, but seeing a picture of myself that was taken afterwards. And it's a picture of me. I think we were at Marineland back in the days when Marineland was still open, and I had an ice cream cone in my hand, and all I can see in this picture is this little fat kid with an ice cream cone stuffed in his mouth, and thinking that picture needs to be destroyed and never seen again. And I hesitate. I'm pretty sure that photo was actually destroyed at one point, just because I did not want any evidence of that kid lingering around, not realizing that it constantly is lingering around in my head anyway.
Right.
So I can destroy the evidence, but it's still very prominent in my mind, and that's the image that I often go back to when I look in the mirror and feel disappointed in how I look.
Yeah. So this feeling of disappointment, this feeling of judgment, this rejection of this image of yourself, as you feel into that in this moment, how unpleasant is that feeling on a scale of 1 to 10?
Currently, I would put it probably at maybe a 5 max.
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So we're going to take this image. This is a great place for us to begin. It's an early experience and an early memory of a sense of shaming of the self and rejection of the self or body image. And we're going to do some work with it in a process called clinical EFT. I'll explain it briefly, then I'll model it. And then using the information that you've given me, we'll work through this memory experience and see what happens.
Fair enough.
So clinical EFT stands for Clinical Emotional Freedom Technique. And what it does is it takes our best understanding of Eastern energy medicine and our best understanding of Western developmental psychological theory and brings the two of them together in one method. And what we do with clinical EFT is we, rather than rejecting the unpleasant experience, we embrace it. We accept it, we accept the feelings, we accept the judgments, and we allow ourselves to let the emotion, the energy in motion, move through rather than getting stuck in our rejection.
Okay.
In order to come to a new place. And so one of the ways that we do that is by tapping a variety of acupressure points along the energy meridian from Eastern medicine. So I'm going to teach you the tapping points. You don't have to remember them because I'm going to guide you through the process
Okay.
But I just want you to become familiar with them physically before we jump in to reprocessing this.
Sure.
So the first one is called the karate chop. You can start tapping on the side.
It's going to move my microphone out of the way a bit. Okay.
Great. Excellent. You want to keep that microphone safe.
Oh, yes. You got to be able to hear me.
Yeah. So this is the first point. And the second point is right on the crown of the head. And yes, I look a little bit like a monkey. That's all right for our purposes. The next point is where the eyebrow meets the nose. So right there. Perfect. Yes. And then the next point is at the corner of the eyes, you'll feel a little indentation.
Okay.
There you go. Yes. And then just lightly on the top of the sinus right below the eye. Great. And then just in the middle underneath the nose. Perfect. The next point is in the middle of the chin. Great. And then at the collarbone, if you go in about 1/4 of an inch, you'll feel a slight indentation.
Yep.
Yep, that's the next point. And then the last point, and again, you don't have to remember these because I'll guide you through the process, is underneath the arms. So if you're doing this at home, it's basically right, follow your nipple right to the outside, and that's the spot. It's tapping lightly there.
Got it.
All right. We're going to go back to this memory, being in Niagara Falls and Marineland, and this picture of yourself with the ice cream cone. You know, have that picture in your mind. Hold that picture. It's there. Yes, it is. Yes, with all of the feelings, the unpleasant feelings that come with it, the judgments and the thoughts. So we're going to begin and just repeat what I do and repeat what I say.
Okay.
Even though I have this picture.
I have this picture.
The picture of me being a young boy.
This picture of me being a young boy.
Niagara Falls, Marineland with my family.
Niagara Falls, Marineland with my family.
Ice cream cone in my hand and in my face.
Ice cream cone in my hand and in my face.
And a part of me thinks.
And a part of me thinks.
Look at that fat kid.
Look at that fat kid.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Even though a part of me wants to reject this picture.
Wants to reject this picture.
I feel so disappointed in myself.
I feel so disappointed in myself.
For being that fat kid with the ice cream cone.
For being that fat kid with the ice cream cone.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
And I allow my body to relax.
And I allow my body to relax.
Even though
a part of me
judges this little boy.
Sorry, I didn't catch that last bit, Frank.
Judges this little boy.
Judges this little boy.
With the ice cream cone.
With the ice cream cone.
He says, look at that fat kid.
Just look at that fat kid.
And I don't want anything to do with him.
And I don't want anything to do with him.
I feel so disappointed.
I feel so disappointed.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
And I allow my body to relax.
And I allow my body to relax.
Top of the head. All of this judgment.
All of this judgment. Sorry, your sound cut out on me there, Frank.
Look at that fat kid.
Look at that fat kid.
Corner of the eyebrows. I was so disappointed.
So disappointed.
Corner of the eyes. It doesn't look the way I want him to look.
He doesn't look the way I want him to look.
He doesn't look the way he's supposed to look.
He doesn't look the way he's supposed to look.
And I want to reject him.
And I want to reject him.
I want this picture to go away.
I want this picture to go away.
I judge him.
Sorry, I missed that.
I judge him,
I judge him,
and I'm disappointed.
and I'm disappointed.
Disappointed in this fat kid.
Disappointed in this fat kid.
Part of me believes he's not the way he's supposed to be.
Part of me believes he's not the way he's supposed to be.
He's not the way my brothers are.
He's not the way my brothers are.
He's not the way he thinks he's supposed to look.
He's not the way he thinks he's supposed to look.
Because he's not the way he thinks he's supposed to look, he's not worthy.
Because he's not the way he's supposed to look, he thinks he's not worthy.
He's disappointed.
He's disappointed.
And it feels awful
It feels awful.
to reject this little boy.
Reject this little boy.
And I'm open to the possibility
And I'm open to the possibility
that this judgment doesn't belong to him,
that this judgment doesn't belong to him,
that it was given to him
that it was given to him
by others
by others
who let him know that fat kids don't belong,
who let him know that fat kids don't belong,
that they're not enough,
that they're not enough,
and they're disappointing.
and they're disappointing.
Disappointing when they don't look like the other boys are supposed to look.
Disappointing when they don't look like the other boys are supposed to look.
I'm open to the possibility
And open to the possibility
that this belief wasn't born with him.
that this belief wasn't born with him.
It was given to him.
It was given to him.
It doesn't belong to him.
It doesn't belong to him.
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that this fat boy
that this fat boy
alone
belongs,
is enough.
is enough,
That this fat boy enjoying the ice cream
that this fat boy enjoying the ice cream
is beautiful
is beautiful
and free
and free
and belongs.
and belongs.
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that others might even be touched by his joy and his pleasure in this ice cream.
that others might even be touched by his joy and his pleasure in this ice cream.
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that this fat boy
that this fat boy
is actually attractive
is actually attractive
and looks wonderful
and looks wonderful
enjoying this ice cream.
enjoying this ice cream.
That he is enough.
That he is enough.
Under the arms. That everything about him is enough.
That everything about him is enough.
He is exactly as he is supposed to be.
He is exactly as he is supposed to be.
This little boy.
This little boy.
This little boy who's me. This little boy who's me
This little boy who's me
is enough.
is enough.
Has always been enough.
Has always been enough.
Will always be enough.
Will always be enough.
When he's eating ice cream
When he's eating ice cream
and when he's not.
and when he's not.
There's room for everything for him.
There's room for everything for him.
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that this picture is beautiful.
that this picture is beautiful,
Even when I don't think it is.
even when I don't think it is.
It is.
It is.
That he is enough.
That he is enough.
And everything about him is enough.
And everything about him is enough.
And take a breath. And look around the space that you're in with 5 different colors. Listen to the furthest sound that you can hear. And bring your awareness back to this picture of this little boy in Niagara Falls. Enjoying this ice cream. Hearing that. And sense into what this is like for you right now.
I think now when I'm thinking of that picture, I'm realizing that at least in the moment, that kid who is me, was oblivious to any of those issues that I see now and saw after seeing that picture. In the moment, it was just a happy kid enjoying an ice cream cone.
It's a happy kid enjoying an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel in this moment towards this happy kid enjoying an ice cream cone?
Grateful, honestly, grateful that I had a childhood and a family that allowed me to feel comfortable. Like I say, I don't think I recognized until much later in my adolescence and as I was getting older, because I would have been probably maybe 10 at the max, 12 when this picture would have been taken. So the idea of body shaming hadn't really cropped into my lexicon at that point. But yeah, grateful that I had a family that allowed me to have that freedom, I guess.
Yeah.
To be a kid.
To be a kid and enjoy an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be beautiful when he's doing it.
Yeah, and to feel safe. Despite when I look at that and think, that's not who this kid should be. And when I think of the reasons why I probably ate and still eat the way I do, I was safe in an environment that I knew I wasn't, at least by those who mattered the most, I wasn't being judged.
Right. Yeah. Take a breath and feel into this awareness, this knowing. If there was anything that your adult self present here right now would want to say to that little boy, what would it be?
Oh, geez. So much. The journey of the additional 40 years on that kid's life have had a ton of amazing highs, no question about it, but I've had some very dark moments as well. And I'd probably tell that kid, just like I tell folks that I deal with in the work that I do, that as cliche as it sounds, it gets better. Yes. And I see myself as living proof that really is true. It does get better, and hold on through the rough times and the difficult ride, because it will be worth it one day. And all those dark places and all those challenging experiences will return to you tenfold.
Yeah. And if there was a gesture of connection or comfort that you could offer to this 10, 12-year-old boy eating his ice cream cone, what would it be?
Oh, no question. A hug, a big, long, meaningful hug.
Yeah. Big, long, meaningful hug. As you experience this impulse to give this boy a big, long, meaningful hug, what that's like.
Connection, and as you talked about in the exercise we did, that gesture would show that he's worth it.
He's worth it.
He
Just
is
the way it is.
And deserving.
Yes. Yeah. Take a breath into that knowing. And I'm conscious of our time, so I just want to check in with you, see where we are with our time. I think we're coming pretty close to our end point.
Yeah, I mean, I feel great. We are about 3 minutes to the end, which astonishes me because I feel like we've just started.
Yes. Yeah.
But that always seems to be the way when I have interesting and thoughtful guests on the program. So I certainly thank you for that. And I guess as a coach and psychotherapist, how do you feel we've done? Is this sort of what an initial stage of coaching would look like for folks who would connect with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. So one of the things that we've done here is we've gone to an early experience of disappointment with body image and allowed, rather than rejecting that picture, we've really explored it, embraced it by accepting the feelings and the judgments layered onto it and allowing those to move through to a new possibility. When we do that, it's a little bit like a Jenga piece, right? Many of the experiences are then built on top of that experience begin to dissolve and collapse. And that new awareness moves through all of our system. So we don't do everything in 20 minutes.
Right.
But we begin. And we shift and we allow that emotion, energy and motion to move through to a new awareness and a new understanding, new relationship with our younger self.
Yeah, I think those are all important points. And I would ask you at this point, since we're at the point where I need to wrap things up, if you're willing to continue the conversation and stick around for some further coaching, I'd welcome that opportunity.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Great. Well, folks, that's it for this episode of Let's Be Perfectly Queer. But tune in next week when we continue the continuation of this conversation with Frank, which is perfect, given that this entire month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So it's a good topic for us to continue on a third episode in this series. So Frank, thank you very much for your time today. Thank all of you for joining us on another episode of Let's Be Perfectly Queer. And don't forget to come back next week and join us for more of this conversation. Have a good night, folks.